G'day, Steeler Nation. Welcome back to Steeler Nation Australia. So, guys, it's still kind of hitting me. The Franco Harris news with his passing yesterday. Um, it's still all kinds of crazy, so sudden, so sad. Uh, I had a few moments of myself last night before I went to bed. Kind of went to bed with a headache too. I was a bit, stressed out over this stuff. So I send all my prayers and thoughts to the families, or the family of Franco Harris and the Harris family. Right. I think this is this the timing of it all is beyond crazy. Uh, Such a well-respected human in the Pittsburgh community and a well-respected person in Steeler Nation, and this has affected Steeler Nation all over. So I wanted to read some player tweets, some coach tweets, some celebrities looking back on Franco Harris and what they meant to the NFL community as a whole. So Tony Dungy says, "Woke up this morning to the devastating news that my friend Franco Harris passed away during the night. One of the kindest, gentlest men I've ever known. He was a great person, a great teammate, Hall of Fame player, but so much more than that. A tremendous role model for me." So there's some nice words there from Tony Dungy. Um, Ex-coach or ex-Steelers coach Bill Cowher says here, "We've lost an icon in Franco Harris. He embodied uh, PGH in his grace or Pittsburgh humility, sense of pride. He was a champion on the field and ambassador off it. Thank you, Franco, for setting the standard that we all strive to achieve as a professional and as a person. Rest in peace and condolences to Dana." That is some really nice words from our coach, Bill Cowher. Fantastic. Arthur Motes was on Twitter too. A lot of guys around the league are just putting out their thoughts, getting it, going through the grieving process. Arthur Motes said here, "Legendary guy, both on and off the field. You will be missed. Rest in peace, Franco Harris." So you can already see, guys, in Pittsburgh Steelers, you guys know, Steeler Nation, Franco Harris meant so much to the Pittsburgh Steelers community. Like 110%. He was the guy, the dude, a legend. Still is a legend, the legend. He was the guy in Pittsburgh. And for me being in Australia, when I was growing up, I didn't know too much about him. But as I learned the game, as I saw the play, the Immaculate Reception, as I went to the airport, walking past the statue, as I went to Heinz Field and going past um, the the plaque, the Immaculate Reception plaque, where where his foot was standing at the exact same moment where he caught the ball. I've been there. I've taken my father there too. I've been there with my mate Ryan. Right? He's just a legendary guy, like Moat says. Okay, another one too. I got a few of these guys. I got about 5 of these I want to read out. Derek Brooks says, "My heart is saddened with passing of my Hall of Fame teammate, Franco Harris. My prayers are with his family. He was one of the best people that I've ever met. My family still talks about how they treated him like family during my Hall of Fame selection in 2014. Miss you, brother." Nice words there. Greenberg, Mike Greenberg. Franco Harris was so much more than just one play. He was one of the great backs of all time or any time and the heartbeat of the offense of those legendary Steelers teams. He was also classy as a gentleman as you could ever hope to meet. Rest in peace, Franco. Thanks for the memories. That is one thing, guys, that I've been seeing around Twitter and Facebook and social media and on the Pittsburgh Steelers news. Pretty much everyone who's met Franco said he's such a nice guy. I can only imagine how lucky I would have been to meet Franco and shake his hand. No doubt he would have had a conversation with me back and forth about the Steelers or about Australia. I think what I'm gathering here is he was one of the nicest guys you would ever meet, ever, ever. Maybe even nicer than Troy. Okay. We have Teresa Vali here says, "It's so sad he won't be there to see his jersey retired, but he will be there in spirit. This weekend was for him. It still is for him. A Pittsburgh Steelers legend. He might not be there in person, but he's going to be there in heaven." And that's probably to me, guys, the really hardest part to see all this stuff. The shocking news that I saw last night. I was so hyped for the game, Steelers versus Raiders. They're acknowledging his jersey, number 32. They're retiring it. This game was for Harris, and the timing of it is just you couldn't even explain this to anyone else. The timing of it is so sad. It's like He should be there holding his jersey up and doing the terrible towel, but he's not. And it's just so unfortunate. The Pro Football Hall of Fame also reached out to and said Franco Harris will not only be remembered as a great player, his legacy will also be one of character and humility off the field as well as a dear friend of the Hall. We are honored to have the opportunity to help his story and keep his legacy alive forever. That is fantastic, and no doubt they will. I've been to the Hall of Fame. It's one of the best places on earth. They definitely will keep Franco Harris' legacy alive. Now, I wanted to bring in a celebrity too. This affects everyone. It affects you guys, Steeler Nation, everyone around the world. Bill Burr, a comic, says, "Rest in peace to one of the all-time greats on and off the field. Incredible player and person. Loved watching him play and hearing him talk about life. Hashtag Franco Harris." And Bill Burr is a Patriots guy. And he's saying this about Franco Harris being a Steeler. Love watching him play and hearing him talk about life. That is fantastic. I have a lot of respect too for Bill Burr. Now, as we wind down, we're going to have some of the official statements from Art Rooney and the Steelers organization, right? But before we do that, I have one more. James Conner, ex-Steeler running back, says, "Long live the legend, Franco Harris. Franco is Pittsburgh. I'm honored to have known him, sending love and prayers to his family and the community. Pretty much Steelers worldwide." So as I break this down, guys, man, oh man, it is really sad, and you just can't put words to it. It's really tough. So this was from Dan Rooney once said, "He's one of the finest and most thoughtful human beings I've ever known." Franco Harris, 1950 to 2022. And that's the idea I kind of get, guys. Steeler Nation, I know we have to go through the grieving process. It's really hard. It's been a real struggling day for myself. But look, I know there are other people in a lot more pain than me. But still, as Steeler Nation, we need to go through the grieving process. And you just can't believe it. You can't believe that a legend like this, that a legend like this is actually gone and so close to his retirement of his jersey and all that kind of stuff. And here we are, remembering him and not celebrating the fact they're retiring. I don't know. I hope we can have a really big day, Steelers versus Raiders, and the crowd can go off. It will be a chilling experience, but it's just really unfortunate. And I send my prayers and thoughts to the Harris family and all of Steeler Nation around the world. But I want to end with this, guys. A message from Art Rooney II. "It is difficult to find the appropriate words to describe Franco Harris' impact on the Pittsburgh Steelers, his teammates, the city of Pittsburgh, and Steeler Nation. From his rookie season, which included the Immaculate Reception, through the next 50 years, Franco brought joy to people on and off the field. He never stopped giving back in so many ways. He touched so many, and he was loved by so many. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife, Dana, and his son, Doc, and his extended family at this difficult time." Guys, he was truly a special person, and what I've been reading on Facebook, Twitter, social media, for once, it's actually been a nice thing. No one's mentioning fire anyone. Everyone's sending their thoughts and prayers out to Franco Harris and his family. Tells you how much he was really loved as a person and as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He was truly amazing. What he did for this city was amazing. I never got to meet the guy, but watching highlights and the old Super Bowls and the Immaculate Reception is just fantastic. It's unbelievable what the spark that he brought to this city on and off the field. But also, guys, I wanted to share a quick little clip at the very end of this video. Stephen A. Smith giving his thoughts on Franco Harris.
It's interesting because, well, first of all, I don't think I'd wax poetically better than you on this subject, but I will tell you that this is the first football play I ever saw. And that's why I became a Steelers fan. Because the black and gold, when they're playing against the Oakland Raiders in the divisional playoff game, back then it was Three Rivers Stadium, it wasn't Heinz Field. And you saw this ball ricochet off of a Steeler after he got hit and into the arms of a Franco Harris, who caught it low and then ran down the left sideline and ultimately won this divisional playoff game against the Oakland Raiders. You just couldn't say enough. Obviously, you think about Franco Harris. He's a 9-time All-Pro. He was a 9-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time All-Pro player. clearly a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, inducted in 1990. You just looked at him, and you know what? Obviously, with him and Rocky Blyer, see, I remember back from those days. Obviously, Terry Bradshaw had arrived about a year or two before Franco Harris had arrived, but Lynn Swann wasn't there as of yet. John Stallworth wasn't there as of yet. But when you thought about the Steelers, you thought about the Steel Curtain because it's Mean Joe Green with the Pepsi commercials eventually. It's L.C. Greenwood. It's Jack Lambert and Jack Ham and Mel Blount and these boys. This is what I grew up. This is when I talk about being a Steelers fan. This is where it emanates from. But it all started with the Immaculate Reception. And when you're a kid, 5 years old at the time I was, and that's the first football play you ever saw, that's why I was magnetized by the black and gold. And so for me to know that somebody like him is synonymous with it, it's one thing. And I often, all of us have suffered deaths in our family with loved ones and things of that nature. It's one thing where you see it coming and, you pay homage and you lament or whatever. But it's another thing when it's shocking. Like you said, you just interviewed them.
And right before Christmas and right before the anniversary.
Exactly.
The timing.
Right before Christmas, right before the anniversary, you just interviewed them. We just saw him on TV a few weeks ago. He seemed in good health. We didn't know what's going on or whatever, but you just see him in good health, and then all of a sudden, bam. It's just a reminder of how precious life